To talk Nvidia today, which is now down about 1.9%, I think is not illustrative of how well this company has performed. Of course, anyone that's had a pulse in the market this year knows we're up 192.5% actually on the year. So our big winner of the year, Analyst today, only continuing to at least excite and enthuse those bulls in this name. So joining me now to discuss more is Caroline Woods, Senior Markets Correspondent for the network. So Caroline, walk us through all the analyst coverage, because it does seem like this skews so positively. I know we're down today, but still been our big winner of course, the year.
That's right. And despite these red arrows today, the analyst coverage is very bullish. So as you said, Nvidia shares off almost 2% today after last week's 9% run higher. So taking a bit of a breather. But if you take a look, chip stocks in general are lower today, seeing red arrows across the board, likely due to Taiwan Semiconductor, that Reuters report that it's been ordered by U.S. authorities to halt shipments of its advanced chips to China. So, we mentioned the analyst coverage. Obviously, Nvidia reports next week. It's a late tech reporter, and some would say the bar is high based on that 192% year-to-date increase that we've seen.
In light of Nvidia's recent positive performance and the expected resolution of supply chain issues, Morgan Stanley has increased its price target for the company from $150 to $160. With anticipated sales in the $5.6 billion range, Morgan Stanley analysts, led by Joseph Moore, predict that Nvidia's new Blackwell product line will greatly increase revenue in the January quarter. Ongoing supply restrictions, however, would somewhat balance these possible gains and have an impact on the guidance for the current quarter. Furthermore, Nvidia's product demand patterns show that demand for the H200 has increased relative to the H100, which is consistent with the company's recent practice of increasing its sales projection by about $2 billion. Nvidia's sales guidance for the January quarter, according to analysts, may exceed expectations at $36.5 billion. Through FY 2026, Morgan Stanley also projects that Nvidia's gross margins would rise despite the initial ramp-up margins for Blackwell being lower. Morgan Stanley estimates that Nvidia's gross margin outlook decreased from a conservative 75.7% in July to 75% in October. As a result, the company has increased its expectations for Nvidia's FY 26 sales and EPS to $176.78 billion and $4.03, respectively, with non-GAAP gross margins of 73.8%. Morgan Stanley retains Nvidia as a top buy with an overweight rating, while considering this earnings period transitional. This is because of Blackwell's anticipated influence on growth in late 2025. To stay informed about the latest developments from Nvidia and the ever-changing stock market, consider subscribing to our investing tutorial channel. We provide daily updates on significant market shifts and key catalysts, so hit that subscribe button to ensure you never miss crucial information. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Nvidia stock, so please share your opinions in the comments below. Now, let's dive into today's video.
Strained January quarter, so expecting a big beat in January as well. Says that management is likely to make comments about extremely strong demand for the H200, as well as the Blackwell and the Grace Blackwell. Meanwhile, Melius Research actually is even more bullish, with its price target hiking to 185 from 165, also kept a buy rating on shares. Melius says it has a higher conviction in long-term estimates for Nvidia versus any other semis or system company they cover. Giving up on Nvidia here, they say, after its hit Hopper, would be like giving up on Apple after the iPhone 1 or 2, saying while it didn't seem possible, we are even more excited about Jensen Huang's next chip than we were before. It's similar to the feeling around product cycles with Apple's iPhone some 15 years ago, just on a different scale. Meanwhile, Morgan Stanley is expecting another very good quarter, maintained Nvidia as a top pick, raised its price target to $160 a share from $150, also has an overweight rating on shares, expects another very good quarter, as I said, although thinks the bigger upward revisions will happen later in the year as the current environment is completely constrained on Blackwell and also partly on the H200. So Wall Street commentary, very bullish. I will say, I had Logan Gillen from Jewel Financial on the Future Show today. he was a bit more leery on Nvidia heading into this report, not because he doesn't think Nvidia, will beat with the numbers, but he just thinks it's priced to perfection. And similar to what we saw with Microsoft and Meta, he said, investors were looking for any chinks in the armor with valuation. So he thinks the setup is a bit tough for Nvidia heading into that report on the 20th. So he was saying he would need a substantial pullback before getting into Nvidia shares. So that was definitely more cautious than we're hearing from some of these Wall Street firms right now. But Nvidia shares under pressure today, as we said, down a little less than 2% right now, but up 9% this month, up 193% year to date, and up 200% over the past 1 year.
Two Wall Street analysts praised Nvidia's potential in artificial intelligence and raised their price targets for the company's stock on Monday. Ben Reitzes, an analyst at Melius Research, increased his price objective for Nvidia stock from 165 to 185 and reaffirmed his buy recommendation. Nvidia's stock fell more than 1% to 145.42 during today's stock market afternoon trading. Because Nvidia's stock is exposed to the AI megatrend, Reitzes referred to it as a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Reitzes stated in a client note that the trend is still in its early stages as Nvidia increases manufacturing of its Blackwell, a next-generation AI technology. Reitzes compared giving up on Apple at the iPhone 1 or 2 to giving up on Nvidia here after its success with Hopper. With compute-intensive catalysts and use cases like text-to-video, autonomous agents, self-driving cars, and visual intelligence still in its infancy, artificial intelligence is still rapidly developing. According to him, the 5 largest AI infrastructure spenders, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta Platforms, Alphabet's Google, and Oracle, have very sound capital spending plans. According to Reitzes, those corporations' data center capital expenditures will increase by 24% to $282 billion in 2025. Harsh Kumar, a Piper Sandler analyst, raised his price objective for Nvidia stock from 140 to 175 and maintained his overweight rating. Given Nvidia's leading position in AI accelerators and the impending release of the Blackwell architecture, we are declaring the business our top large-cap choice, Kumar stated in a client note. In advance of the Blackwell ramp, he declared Nvidia stock to be a must-own. According to Kumar, Nvidia is in a strong position to take the majority of the market for AI accelerators, which is expected to continue to grow in 2025. Morgan Stanley and UBS raised their price targets for Nvidia shares later on Monday. Joseph Moore, an analyst at Morgan Stanley, raised his price objective for Nvidia stock from 150 to 160 and kept his overweight rating. Moore stated in a client note that the current situation is entirely supply limited on Blackwell and partially on H200. Timothy Arcuri, a UBS analyst, maintained his buy recommendation on Nvidia stock but increased his price objective from 150 to 185. In a client letter on Monday, he stated, "We remain bullish here and see Nvidia delivering strong enough results and guidance to keep the stock moving higher, despite rising investor expectations in recent weeks." The company's fiscal third quarter report, which is scheduled for November 20, is the next possible catalyst for Nvidia stock. So what implications does this have for Nvidia's stock? Let's explore that. But first, a big thank you to those of you who've stuck with us this far. Creating these videos takes significant effort and dedication, so if you're enjoying the content, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts on Nvidia stock in the comments. Your support truly helps us grow. Now let's get back to the video.
The numbers are astonishing when you start talking Nvidia in terms of performance and the revenue growth, etc. There's been doubters along the way, fewer and fewer as time goes on. They just keep falling off because they're just getting run over. I imagine more and more analysts will update as we get closer to the event. But, Caroline, I'd have to imagine that kind of the tenseness around this report will build, as this is probably, top 3 or 4 biggest events left on 2024's calendar is going to be next week's NVIDIA earnings. Is that the feeling you got?
Oh, for sure, because we also know Nvidia's market power as well. And so as much as it's nice to see small cap participation and such, when Nvidia is lower, we see, and especially now that it's a Dow component as well, we see the market go lower. So I think that, the pressure is certainly on Nvidia. It's highly anticipated. And you talked about, other analyst updates. We have been seeing those price targets kind of come higher, because if you take a look, the median price target for Nvidia is $150 a share, which is only, call it $6 away from where it's currently trading right now. And that's despite the fact that 90% of analysts rate Nvidia as buy still, despite these really impressive gains that we've been seeing. Now, at the high end, 203 is the highest price target on the street that I can see. So, there are still, and some of the others that we mentioned, as high as 175, 185, there are more bullish price targets than the 150. The low end is one of the 6 hold ratings. That's a $90 price target. But safe to say, a lot of people don't want to bet against Nvidia. There's not a single sell rating on Wall Street, according to LSEG. So, the bar is high. Nvidia has met or beat that bar time and time again. So it's hard to bet against it. But we'll have to wait and see. And also, it doesn't report until the 20th. So little pullbacks here and there too could potentially lower that bar a little bit.
That is true. We do have some time. I hear the 20th and I'm like so disoriented to what day it even is right now. I'm like, okay, so we do have some time before that event. I feel like it's the same risk as we saw last earnings period, where it's to me, the biggest risk is that the same just doesn't move at all, because a muted reaction, I think, is what many are rooting against right now at this point. But great insight as always, Caroline.
Under Trump, digital assets like Bitcoin might reach new heights, and Wall Street powerhouse Nvidia would stand to gain greatly. According to Eric Jackson, founder of ENG Capital, there are numerous ways the government might promote cryptocurrency in the coming months. Trump's remarks about conducting a thorough, according to Jackson. The Bitcoin reserve is optimistic as an underlying bid for that currency. In that regard, as its bullish run following Election Day continues, Bitcoin crossed the $80,000 mark for the first time on Sunday. Over the last 5 days, the price of Bitcoin has increased by 15%. Trump did not hold back from showcasing his passion for digital assets during the campaign road. At this year's Bitcoin 2024 conference, he even pledged to turn the country into a crypto-friendly location, predicting that the U.S. might emerge as the global center of cryptocurrency. In particular, the president-elect expressed a wish to turn the nation into a Bitcoin superpower. Here comes Nvidia, the AI chip darling and one of the first Bitcoin mining plays. For the past 7 or so years, Jackson has been following Nvidia's development. Nvidia's devices were crucial to the early development of cryptocurrencies, even if their potent chips made them famous in the gaming industry. Because of their speed and effectiveness, the company's graphics processing units, GPUs, are utilized to help cryptocurrency miners. Orders for Nvidia's newest computer chips, in addition to its uses for AI and Tesla robots, may increase as demand for cryptocurrency rises under Trump. If cryptocurrency gains more traction, mining Bitcoin itself is likely to rebound, Jackson said. Given its significant competitive advantages over rivals AMD and Intel in chip development, Jackson believes Nvidia's stock may more than quadruple. Jackson's colleagues at institutions like Bank of America share this optimistic outlook. According to Jackson, cryptocurrency is becoming a popular alternative money class. Making the currency accessible to the general public in a physical, palatable manner is one obstacle. Under the Trump administration, Jackson sees support for the digital currency sector, which may include encouraging approvals for various ETF types. Obviously, if the SEC approves those stocks, individuals will have a lot more options and won't be forced to invest solely in cryptocurrency. Jackson is still hopeful about the future of cryptocurrencies in general, regardless of how events unfold over the ensuing years. As always, sharing your thoughts and insights in the comments section can foster a more informed community discussion, helping everyone navigate the complexities of investing in this dynamic sector. Stay ahead of the game with the latest stock market news, data, and important updates. I share valuable insights and real-time information on my Telegram channel, ensuring you're always informed before everyone else. If you want to keep up with the fast-paced world of investing, open the description below, click the link to my Telegram channel, and join our growing community. Don't miss out on